one game that he totally took control of. Elise is getting banned more often than picked now. They don't even let that go through anymore.
Yeah, she actually has the same pick and ban rate as Zach, which is 100%. However, because of the previous times that people let the champion go through, her win rate just went through the roof. And people are starting to realize that Elise is just a little bit too obnoxious to deal with, just a little bit too much burst. The utility that you bring in the early game, and wow, a Braum ban coming out from KT. Making sure that he doesn't get that pick 2 games in a row. He had it, and making sure that he does not have this pick this time around. And Thresh now will have a bit of a different matchup now that there is no Braum to deal with and such. The pairing for Kalista, the next kind of tier of pairing that you'd expect would be with maybe a Tam Kench, but that's a bit of a rare one that we haven't seen in quite some time.
Are we going to see first pick Orianna here? The Orianna mid sometimes uses a blind pick, but to take it ahead of other options, such as that Thresh you were talking about, really hoping that Mickey gets on that once again.
And it's just putting Pawn in a position where he might not be set up for success. The 2 picks that he had success with, the Gallium, the Orianna, just aren't here anymore. So what else is next? The Ahri just really doesn't seem to be the flavor for KT today, and they will have to dig deeper into the champion pool for something that he is a little bit more comfortable this time around. We know that Pawn can play pretty much a million champions, but what can he play well right now is a question that we have been asking ourselves for a lot of years now.
That question's been around since dinosaurs were around, man. So it looks like finally KT is beginning to respect Mighty Bear's Graves. They're going to take that away here, at least hovering it. There it is, the lock, and even with Lee Sin left up, they decide to take it.
That seems odd. Even I don't think that Mighty Bear's success on Graves is really anything to be trying to deny. And maybe it might just be that Scores Lee Sin just wasn't really feeling it. It's not at the level that you need it to be at this stage in the game. Just a little bit too many times where he's getting caught out of position, and they're not going to give KT the chance to ban out AD carries in the second phase, and so they will secure their carries already. And now that they've went for a very protect your carries composition with Caitlyn and Orianna in such long range, what's next for ROX is just a lot of peel and a lot of protection for their lineup, and maybe a Gragas would be in order, or possibly a Shen once again.
Definitely a couple of picks you're looking towards here. And an Ivern. If you want more protection, more shields, along with that Orianna, Songyun had a pretty fantastic game on that Kalista. They're grabbing him the Caitlyn this time around. Let's play support the Songyun.
It's a risky pick, although KT have the opportunity to just pick winning lanes. They can save the top lane for the counter pick and ensure that they have pushing matchups all over. And if they do that, that means that they will be able to invade that Ivern, the nerfed Ivern. And Jarvan will have pushing power into pretty much most matchups. And if they pull this off, this means that Ivern can fall behind significantly and will have a very difficult time. I like the Jarvan pick here. You know that Lindarang has played it before. You know it's the most popular combo, or the hottest combo right now in LCK and pretty much around the world. The Jarvan-Orianna combo, once Longzhu debuted it, seems like everybody wants a piece of it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, KT, they banned it for the first 2 games, and they pick it up for game 3. Definitely a hotly contested pick. They're going to start banning out some top laners. Shen played in both of these first 2 games. Will be the first ban for KT.
Kalista. All right, let's make sure that Def does not get his hands on that pick. And it's just saying we don't want to risk the early game happening. Go with the Vars. Make sure that you're looking for some later stages in the game, because if ROX get to the late game, when you have Caitlyn, Ori, and Ivern, you don't even need to see what else this lineup is going to consist of, because you already know that it's going to be just very difficult to deal with. And KT just saying you're not going to have the early game. We're not going to allow you to have any power in this top lane matchup. They need to control the laning phase. They need to get ahead early, shut down Ivern, and close out quickly. Otherwise, they will find themselves outscaled just so quickly.
Very true. Still looking towards a ban here for the Tigers. It will be another ADC. I was thinking maybe a mid pick towards the pawn, but
just asking for Def to play Ashe, really. Just saying, you're going to play Ashe today. We want you to have this champion, and it makes sense. Even though it has a good laning phase into the Caitlyn, there really is, like, what option are you going to go for? Would you go Twitch? I don't think so. wow.
Pawn, he's getting inspired by Crown's play earlier today on the Victor. He'll pick up the Victor for himself, wants to play just a safe farming lane.
Okay,
just
so
at
at least this time around, KT have wave clear. They can slow down any potential pushes while the pressure might not be there from the mid lane. At least they have a semblance of strength come the later stages in the game. Now, what I'm really curious about is...
Oh, that's locked in. The Blitzcrank.
Yeah. Nice. Blitzcrank is the hot commodity now in the LCK. A pick that you wouldn't have expected to make its way into the meta has already, and with tremendous success, being banned out by a lot of the teams that seemingly can't really deal with it, as the ability to just turn games with this pick is just so good and effortless. One hook, one pick, you basically have pressure for a couple of minutes and it can really turn the tides. And what are they thinking about saving for depth? Are you really gonna save last pick Ashe? I'm not too sure about that. Maybe a hyper carry, a Jinx possibly, a Twitch maybe, and it's going to be Sivir into Blitz.
Okay. Well, you spell shield that hook all day long.
But you are laning against Kings.
We haven't seen Sivir in quite a while here, Crumbs. I can't, I think it was in spring the last time we saw it.
Sivir, she used to have such a throne of power where nobody could contest her late game ability. You just run her with a bunch of tanks this time around, and it's going to be an interesting composition as we run this one this time around. Obviously, she can protect herself from the Ivern hooks, maybe even the Gragas engage, and the Ivern root. There's so much that Spell Shield can protect, but that's all fun and games when you think about it on paper. In reality, there's a reason why Sivir is not in the meta.
Yeah, I was thinking about if they weren't going to go for a hyper carry or just pick up the Ashe and deal with Blitzcrank, maybe the Ezreal to deal with the Blitzcrank. We've seen Deft on it before, but
True.
I mean, we just haven't seen Ezreal in so long, and it seems like perhaps Deft isn't practicing it, but is he really practicing Sivir? That's the real question. I guess that's a big test for him down in bot lane.
I think he probably is just as proficient on Sivir as he ever was. It's just a matter of the range that Sivir has right now. Obviously, the Doran shield is going to help Sivir significantly now. Before, with D-Blade Harass, it was nearly impossible to lane this matchup. But now that not only can she have the Warlords, you have your D-Shield, you've got your extra 2 potions, and Mata on Thresh, out of all things, can probably make this laning phase relatively easy.
3 games of Thresh for Mata. Can he pull it together? Can he pull his team together and grab KT another win? Let's find out in game number 3. Well, here we go. And
no level 1 shenanigans from the ROX Tigers. Not trying to do anything crazy. KT expecting something, but ROX saying we don't need to utilize the cheese this time around. We can just play it cool. Don't risk it in the early game. Have confidence in the ability to get picks and get to later stages in the game when the mid-game shields come around between Orianna and Ivern.
Yeah, you guys who are joining late, you might see the Sivir for Deft and asking, well, what happened in the ban phase? Well, a bunch of ADCs got banned out, and they needed something to deal with the Blitzcrank. But I don't know. I'm still a little bit skeptical. I want Deft to prove it to me and prove to all the viewers out there that, hey, this Sivir's going to work out. Because going into the game, he had that kind of smirk on his face that Pawn had when he picked the Ahri into the Orianna in Game 2. And we saw what happened in Game 2. I mean, it's not like he got crushed or anything like that. He even picked up a kill, but at the end of it, it didn't seem like the best pick for the situation.
Yeah, and I want to elaborate a little further on that, because typically when you see the Sivir compositions, you have Gragas, Maokai, Rengar, Alistar, all these champions that could just run straight at you and deal not only pretty significant amounts of damage, but CC the hell out of you. But this time around, if you think about it on that 5-on-5 scenario, there's really not a whole lot of crowd control that can follow up any Sivir engage. You just have Jarvan jumping in, who most likely his flag would not hit, or even if it does, would just hit a minimal amount of people. But there's no follow-up from the jungle. Thresh realistically wouldn't be able to follow up onto very important targets in a 5-on-5 scenario, and Pawn is just damage alongside Graves. So there's reasons why Sivir in this composition really just says, we just don't want to get hooked from Blitz.
Really respecting that Blitz pick. Question is, did they respect it too much? We'll have to wait and see to find out the answer towards that. Looks like already Key putting some wards down in the river, or just checking.
Nice little route there from Mighty Baron. Will be making his way back to the top side, and meanwhile Score choosing to just farm. Not trying to get too fancy early on. There's not much crazy setup if a gank is to go through. It's only really Mata. Should be enough for a flash or a heal to get them out of any situation.
All eyes on the bot lane. Once again, no big secret. When you got Blitzcrank against Thresh, there's action that's bound to happen.
It's the red light district down here with both of these hookers.
Oh, man.
I just couldn't help myself.
You had to go for it, I understand.
I had to do it.
It was good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Hopefully the hookers did as well. But we're taking a look at the top lane as well. You can see Smeb is kind of running out of mana there, and Score's setting up for a ganker onto Mickey. Mickey, he's very aggressive and coming in here. There's the flash. Still have a bit of damage to come out, but not enough.
And look at how that gank worked. As soon as Score positions himself, Mata's already roaming. He's ready to respond. Is he needed to maybe save somebody with a lantern or perhaps assist in the gank? He's just in a great position, but oh, he just burned his Q.
Oh, and look at this. Up comes Score, too. So Mighty Baron and Linderon are trying to go onto this, but not a lot of mana. Score is going to follow up. There is the root, but are they going to be able to turn onto Linderon? This is very, very close. One more hit in the flash. Dash there by the Gragas will save him. And, well, making the best of a not-so-good situation is Linderon to save his teammate.
Just not enough damage between the Ivern and Gragas, the two picks that you really expect only to bring utility and peel for the rest of the lineup, incapable of taking down the Jarvan, on top of the fact that he has to deal with such a fat minion wave and no mana for Linderank to really follow through on that. So Smeb just not feeling too in danger and waits for Score, and as a result they walk away with a 2-for-1 trade of flashes.
It's hilarious to see how little damage this Caitlyn does to the Sivir when both of the ADCs have Doran shield.
And you know they're going to go Ninja Tabbies. Here's Ivern.
Yeah. Here's Ivern. Can they make it work? There's the hook on Tomato. The flash will hit. Can they land the root? It will land, and it looks like perhaps First Blood going over to Songyun in the bot lane, and that's exactly what they wanted.
And the reason why this gank works, why Mata was unable to calculate what the hell was going on, is the purchase from Mighty Bear. Mobility boots, first item. You just don't expect those long legs to make it to the bottom lane just so quickly, so he bases right away, goes straight in a beeline into the bottom lane, and surprises Thresh right on the wave as they think they have the engage with the minions, but turns out Ivern's got the surprise for them.
Yeah, I'm glad you point out those Moby boots. I mean, no way they could have expected this. What a purchase, and opening up First Blood for your Caitlyn that you need to be fed for the late game, that is gigantic for the ROX Tigers.
Yes, and she's able to also get a BS sword as her first purchase, and that's going to make the laning phase just so much easier for her. The last hitting makes it a piece of cake, and accelerating your carries when you're running a protect your carry composition is just a dream come true.
Yeah, so from here on out, a really good start for the Tigers. They can just sit and farm. It's really going to be up to KT to make the moves. And with a first Dragon Cloud Drake, kind of interesting. I mean, it definitely helps both teams deal with the two supports that can hook. We have a bit of a fight coming down here. Linderon will...
Nice dodge.
Yeah, nice dodge there. Neither player dies.
Lots of vision to the red side jungle for ROX Tigers, though. They managed to sneak in. They have a full quadrant down here, but they still don't have the tri-brush. So a hook here could result in a follow-up root collar. Graves is in position to answer. But Mata's not giving them the time of day, not getting in range to get hooked.
They're trying to sneak in the Ivern into the bot lane, but here's Score on the Graves waiting nearby. Looks like he's backing off now. Some pings go down. I think they might have seen the Ivern.
Oh, the spell shield just got blown, but the vision means that they wonder where Ivern is. They know the top side of the map isn't really available. That playing to the top side doesn't amount to much. Ivern and Gragas still don't have enough damage to take down Smeb. And
ooh, Mickey might be solo killed in mid. It will be. Pawn showing up big on the Victor to take that solo kill.
Not only does he get the solo kill, but the CS needs to continue to grow. 60, I miss his face. What was the expression?
That zoom, man, that's it.
What was the expression?
Total blankness, as if he were staring into the void, man. That's what you expect out of Pawn. Grab the lantern.
He got the red buff, and man, this laning phase just got 2 times more difficult. This is the power of Ivern. I'm going to take another look at the replay, but he's already half HP. Most likely just chunked out from lasers. Nice flash.
There's no flash on Mickey, and Pawn can easily dodge the shockwave. Just a little bit of overconfidence from Mickey once again. Bit of a mistake in the mid lane.
And those moments of overconfidence just come on that final wave that you want to push. If I just squeeze this wave out, if I can just push it and recall, it'll be the greatest recall timing ever. But as such, it's the best moment to punish, and Pawn does so expertly. And 12 CS up, a kill on himself, and at least Mickey will now have his flash coming back up, and that can be his saving grace for quite some time. But ROX Tigers going with the exact same move once again, and if Smeb fall for this one more time, I mean, do you learn from the same mistake twice, 3 times? When is enough?
Well, it seems like he's backing off really far as...
No, they see it coming. They know.
Yeah. I mean, Deft and Mata already pushing there, but it's 4v2 once again. ROX really hoping to get the first turret, and it looks like they should.
I think Graves is trying to answer, but he does have red buff.
I think it's still going to go to the ROX. Yeah, there we go. Mickey, meanwhile, he does have that flash, but the follow-up from Smeb, they want this kill big time. Shockwave will come out. There's a Cataclysm. He can't click the blast. He can't get in range to get on the other side. Nice follow-up there. They give the kill as well over to Pawn. A 2-0 Victor leading in CS in this game.
But KT's now pushing for 2 turrets in the bottom lane. Instead, they opt out. They see their recalls coming through, and instead they will just try to answer with taking some doubles in as a result for their troubles. But there is...
What?
Doubles for your troubles.
You did it.
Doubles for... I'm rhyming today. So that's a good flash there. Instead of choosing to combo in, doesn't have the Cataclysm, so just goes in right away with the instant flash Q to ensure the armor shred. Now the lane assignment, still with the duel into the top side. Fancying that Rift Herald now, but KT does answer with the duel lane top as well.
Well, they get there in time to contest this. Daisy hard at work, helping kill her sister, the Rift Herald. And here comes Mata. They will spot this.
There is TP available on Smeb.
They get a read on the health. Here comes Score over the wall. Pawn will be hooked, but no one to follow up any damage. Score trying to burst down Mighty Bear. He is all alone. He'll be forced to flash in, and Linderong is going to TP into 5 members. They knock Mata into the team. Nice catch. Wow. Really brave to go in there against all those members and take them out. Smeb now on the run. No flag and drag. Some AoE damage from Score. Somehow he survives, and that'll be a second kill going over to the ROX Tigers.
ROX turns it so well, but there is just no coordination from KT. They're all disjointed. As soon as they commit onto Pawn, he burns his ultimate onto the Blitzcrank, and now without Jarvan being in a position to do anything in return, it just becomes easy pickings for what seemingly was a Linderang TPing in one of the worst TPs of all time. Turns it miraculously.
Yeah. Wow, that hook just barely missed Sangi in.
Here it comes, the TP. 5 people.
He flashes away. He's like, Linderong, you're on your own. But
Pops him into the team, and then dashes forward. That is sick. That is a great play.
That's fantastic, Raga's play. To keep your control under all that pressure against 5 members, the perfect cast. You knock all 4 members away from you, and the 1 member towards your team, and then you give yourself enough room so you can also get to that member that you knocked to your team.
The perfect drunk play. What seemingly was, hold my beer, and does it.
Oh, yeah.
You'd never want to try that in a million years again.
Worked out. That's all that matters.
He missed the cannon.
We're results-based here
Oh,
on Spot TV.
He missed the cannon.
Oh, yeah, he did. Well, he's low on mana. He couldn't use any of his skills, as you advised earlier on, Crumbs.
Oh, well. Well, that's 40-something odd gold. Not going into their pocket. In the meantime, the lane assignment continues to be dual lanes topside for ROX Tigers, defending their own turret as there's no longer a turret into the bottom lane to fight for. And the Dragons, while the first one was that Cloud, the second will be an Ocean Drake. And not a whole lot of value out of this one, so we expect to see a lot more fighting in other areas of the map.
What happened to the days of Marin getting lucky with 3 Mountain Drakes on split push Kennen? Now we just have Cloud Drake and Ocean Drake? What is this?
Perhaps the RNG has been tweaked.
Secretly.
Change my numbers, please.
Well, if they were tweaked, nobody told us about it. Maybe just some bad luck.
Here's Ivern, though, hasn't joined his dual lane, and without the vision for KT to jump on this Caitlyn, they have to succumb to the laning phase, and Blitzcrank can just roam around freely. Here they are. They're grouping together, trying to secure that vision, and Lindarang with red buff. Probably fancying a fight with Smeb if he so allows it.
Here's Daisy.
And here is Daisy number 2.
Her older sister coming on in. You got to respect your older sister here in Korea. And they're going to be going deep on this one. All the brush is set up. Key always threatening in the front. He dares you to get close. Chaos Storm comes in. The cask. That wasn't the cast. Some AoE damage comes in.
Jarvan.
Oh, Jarvan from behind. He's getting extremely low. Big shockwave to keep everybody else away. Huge hook on Namada. Can they follow up with some damage? The answer is no. Mighty Bear will also go down. Songyun thankfully gets away with his life. Lindarong, can he be the hero again? Oh, Pawn actually catches up to Songyun. Does not survive, and it looks like Lindarong will also go down. 4 deaths on the side of Tigers to 0 from KT.
They got baited by Herald trying to commit to the turret. No minions left on it, and immediately they forget about Jarvan being able to collapse from the mid lane. A great shockwave, but they forget that Chaos Storm just does so much damage, and KT turn it around. We'll take another look at the fight here. It was a great zone there from Keem, ensuring that the laser does not hit the wave, but they're tanking a Chaos Storm. That's not a good idea.
Oh, man. Even the redemption, it's like, okay, Jarvan doesn't hit anyone, but he gets right on top of you. Cataclysm's 2 members. Mata even gets 3 members into the Cataclysm, and everybody else on KT has so much protection and can do enough damage. And look at this.
Nice flash laser onto him, and that's the advantage that KT needed. Even though they lost to tier 1 mid lane, they're perfectly happy with that trade, as now Pawn sits at 4-0-2. And whoa. That's not what you want to see when you're dealing with a Victor, reminiscent of Crown's Victor earlier today, and we all know how that ended, with just a ton of damage coming out of that pick.
Yeah, you give a Victor 1 kill, he'll ask for 2 kills, and then 4 kills. He's got 100% kill participation too.
May I have more kills?
Can I have a second serving, please? Victor is very proper, of course. When you're wearing a cape like that, you've got to be proper.
What happened to capes? Oh, what year?
You mean the fashion choice of capes? What happened to them?
Yes, that's exactly
Nothing happened. You can wear capes to work if you want, Crumbs. I won't say anything.
Would you wear a cape with me?
Yeah, sure. We can be the superhero casting duo.
Well, apparently Wonder Woman's like the biggest movie.
Oh, yeah.
Does she wear a cape?
I think so.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. I'm not the biggest superhero guy, as we found out last split, but perhaps we'll have to go check out that movie. Victor, Pawn here, showing up, trying to be the superhero for his team. And, you know, he's trying to make up for some of those games that he's kind of not done so well in the past.
Well, he has been a superhero at times. He does make a lot of performances that keep him at the top of mid laners, but the lack of consistency make the team so difficult to just be rallied behind every time, considering the woes that they seemingly have that you just don't expect it of a team that has these top players.
Yeah. Who knew we would be in the midst of an intense 3-game series between KT and the ROX Tigers in 2017? But KT, they're definitely struggling.
I remember I was actually in IEM Katowice earlier this year where the ROX Tigers played, and I think they dropped the game against G2, or there was a team that they had like a 20,000, like just a tremendous advantage. They threw it away, and I think the consensus was that it wasn't even worth it to watch games where ROX were going to be playing at that point, just because of how atrocious the quality was. Obviously, as soon as they went back to Korea, their play just improved tremendously, and you saw some semblances of, okay, there's something to really care about here, and we're seeing that today. I'm really impressed with what they've been showing so far, especially with the decisions around the draft and around the lane swaps with the dual lane. So this team has definitely been putting in the work in the offseason. So I think that while KT has had their woes, ROX has definitely been improving, in a team that, while we would make fun of them a little bit for taking games against KT, a team that you wouldn't expect that to happen, they have been improving substantially and have deserved the wins and the fight that they've been putting up against KT here.
They definitely have. I mean, even on Saturday, they were able to take one game against Samsung, again, off the back of the Blitzcrank. And, ROX starts the Dragon, but loses confidence in their position, decides to disengage as Linderon gets separated. And that will be just an Ocean Drake going over to KT. Next one is Cloud.
And I actually really love this move by ROX by giving up that Dragon. So many times we see teams commit to fighting a 20-minute Ocean Drake that is pretty much worthless. If you're not in a position, if you don't feel comfortable taking that fight, which they shouldn't have, because Linderang was in the pit, zoned out, a pick that is so important for the disruption in this lineup, just don't take the fight. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's just an Ocean Drake at this time around.
Linderong, he thought he was safer than he was. Turns out there's 4 members of KT over here, but look at this. Mata goes down. That might be Jarvan too. That is 2 kills, and I suppose a nice bait from Linderong. Meanwhile, Mickey's on the chase. No spell shield. That's going to be a double kill given over to Songyun on the Caitlyn. And KT's worst nightmare in the bot lane happens again.
And he was definitely safer than he was. Linderang once again outplaying Mata, uses the cast to throw him into the turret, stuns him under there, and then Blitzcrank gets the final hook onto the manaless Jarvan. And they turn this around and get so many kills going their way. We'll take another look here. They're really trying to commit for Linderang here. Blocks the knockup, but the cast is really the cool thing here. Great ultimate.
Wow. Nearly perfect. And Mata just eats too much damage. And you could see that also Smeb went a little bit too low there.
And we don't get to see in the replay, but the Orianna just auto-attacking Sivir to death, following up with the ace in the hole. That she did have flash, she did have heal, so flashing over the wall, definitely an opportunity that would have most likely just prompted Mickey to follow through with his own flash. So it makes sense why he would save it.
Oh, we got a little play here. Oh, wow. Mata able to catch him out with that scanner.
Just reads the game so well.
I almost feel like he was just checking for wards in that one position, because it's a really common ward when you're looking for picks as Blitzcrank, but just the edge of it saw the brush, so they saw the Blitzcrank, even without the ward.
It's true. He could have been doing all of that, but now he will not be able to find them again.
Oh, do they have the follow-up? Lots of damage coming out as he's on a trap. Down will go Mata. Key is going to be engaged upon here as the TP is faster from Smeb.
Sorry.
Will they engage? Kind of an awkward spot for ROX, but they do get the root. Some nice damage coming out here from Pawn and the Cataclysm with the Chaos Storm. Linderong eating a little bit too much. Smeb tankier than you would believe. Nice Shockwave. They're able to get both Pawn and score, but no follow-up as Mickey and Songyun just on the run.
Yeah, the carries are still alive for KT, so they're still comfortable taking the fight, as damage is the name of the game. They did not lose anybody of value, to be honest. Mata has kind of been dying a little bit too much, so it's not a big deal to keep taking the fight when your 0-4 Thresh did go down, but you have your 5-0 Victor still alive. And the trap placement here from Sangi is really the cool thing here, forcing the instant crits. And while they commit to trying to kill Blitzcrank, there's just no way to follow up for Caitlyn here. She can't really cut across as Sivir does have the red buff, so she has to go on the safe way. And if she's not there, then the fight just becomes pretty straightforward for KT.
I feel like, you know, we're pretty far down the replay here, but I feel like he could have almost hooked score in the beginning of that. I think he saw score. I mean, if you have the trap, that's really the only way to get him. But another hook here onto Mata. Mighty Bear getting extremely low. Shockwave goes down. Mata survives this time. Mickey a little bit too far forward as the follow-up. Missing that plant. Doesn't matter. That's 3 kills going over to KT.
3 kills, and that's going to be the Baron. And what do they have against Mata? Why do they keep trying to kill him and nobody else? He's 0-4. The value isn't really there. And as a result, an overzealous approach from ROX results in 3 people going down and the Baron. And now the game that seemed to be in their control is just slipping away as Victor is now 6-0.
6-0-5. And let's see this hook once again. So you can see Mighty Bear gets in a bit of trouble. Mata's the easy hook there. They try to do burst damage, but it's only Mickey and Key. Sangyu not really in position for most of that fight.
No, it was a sick flash combo there from Smeb to knock up the Orianna and ensure that she would go down for the poor positioning, but just burning the solo Shockwave onto your 0-4 support, not truly ideal when you've reached a point in the game where you really need to be just saving your abilities to protect each other and think about the bigger picture as opposed to just going for the one pick on the least important member on this KT lineup.
Well, Mata has picked up a kill, so
his value has gone up.
There we go. Now it makes sense.
Invest in Mata kills. The stock has gone up.
They were just a little bit too forward thinking. They were expecting Mata to get kills, but a little bit too early with that.
Too forward thinking. That's what I'd say. That's what I'll say in my job interview. What's your biggest? I'm too forward thinking.
I'm too progressive. I'm so sorry.
My biggest flaw is that I'm a perfectionist.
Oh man. Well, you might be able to say that about some other members, such as Mata, with his too forward thinking skills. His predictions in a lot of these games have been really on point, but I wouldn't necessarily say that about ROX. But they're trying to come back.
And this comeback has to come at the face of wave clear. So Orianna is the biggest source of hit, but to defend 2 lanes at once is a little bit greedy considering that you have a Lich Bane here on pawn that can just be procced so easily. They just commit a couple of waves into the mid lane. It should be a tier 2 going down.
Eventually. We do have the static Shiv on the Caitlyn once again. Essence Reaver on the side of Deft.
Looking for a pick from Key, but he does need damage dealers there. Otherwise, a hook would not do anything similar to that last fight. So CC has to come at the cost of the damage. And as such, they can't be looking for any plays right now because Orianna and Caitlyn just aren't there. And that's one of the flaws of these compositions that have 2 carries. If your carries aren't there, everybody else doesn't really do anything. And so the team that is against them can always play really aggressively because they know that they're not going to be in danger. If you just get CC'd but there's no damage there, then you're basically just getting a free ride to kill the opponent.
As you were saying, you can't have those carries everywhere when you're dealing with Victor, Graves, even Jarvan, but also the Sivir with their pushing power. It's like, well, tough luck, kids. As KT makes their way into top lane. We got 4 members over here. Smeb still hanging around mid. And that will be another tier 2. Just falling like a house of cards.
I was
looking for something else, but nothing else came, so I just, you know.
I know what your favorite TV show is at this point.
Man, I haven't even finished that series.
I haven't even watched it.
It's pretty good.
I think I had enough political television after watching 24.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't finish that one either.
I think they have like 24, newest 24 all over the world. That just, it gets messy.
Is Chloe still in the show?
Oh, don't even talk to me about Chloe.
Poor Chloe, man. I don't know what happened to her, but it doesn't sound good according to Crumbs.
No, I'm saying don't even talk to me because I don't actually know what happened to Chloe.
Oh, all right. You made it seem very morbid. You're like,
No,
oh, you don't want to talk about that. That's really sad.
No, I'm just saying because I don't know.
So a huge objective in the Cloud Drake and another Ocean Drake coming up here for KT.
But the Baron has faded. They at least converted into 2 tier 2 turrets, so it is something. Now they need to focus on cracking down this tier 2 mid lane. So in order to do that, they will have to control 2 lanes and try to look for some sort of out-rotation play now that Caitlyn is in the top side. They have decided to go for the red side jungle this time around, but because Jarvan based, they're not in the greatest position to make a move onto this tower.
What can they do? They're still hanging around. And Mickey's got enough, and you can see, as you were talking about, they're just going to back off. No pressure just yet.
In the attempt onto taking this, they quickly realize that now that they do not have Baron, it's going to be much tougher to go for it, and so they'll likely have to go into the Baron side and start setting up camp over there, as that'll be the only way that they can really get the ROX Tigers out of the base and potentially in a position where they can lose a team fight. And no, they just will not even try to. There's that out rotation. The Sivir comes through. Nobody from ROX Tigers there to defend.
They're just letting all their tier 2s fall. It's almost like they're saying, okay, we have gotten too far behind to actually contest any of these outer turrets. So let's just hope we can survive until 40, 50 minutes. But it's going to be really hard to do. The amount of pushing power that KT has, at least they don't have any Mountain Drakes. Luckily for the Tigers.
That's true. At least they don't have that, but the builds are coming in hot for them as 3 item spikes are coming all around. You see Jarvan with the completed stone plate. Super tanky. Then you've got Graves with the Maw, so Orianna and the rest of the tank lineup is not really going to be able to take him down. And then you have Pawn, who's the biggest carry right now. He's got his Void Staff, the Lich Bane, and starting to build towards that death cap, which when that spike comes through, the lack of magic resistance onto 4 members of ROX Tigers is going to be paid dearly in the form of a Chaos Storm.
Let's hope they don't tank it as a team this time around.
Oh, such high spells, such high. Well, maybe you're asking for too much.
Yeah. Well, ROX, as we said before, they've shown some glimpses that as a team, they're not so bad. They're definitely showing up a little bit better. I feel like their play has improved overall comparing to spring. So you got to be happy that they're making progress at least.
Yeah, it truly has. But right now, they need to start making some very quick progress around denying this vision in the blue side, because KT have the ability to rush it down. So they're moving swiftly into the jungle, trying to clear out some of the control wards that were pretty offensively. And now the blue ward gets propped. TP gets pinged from Smev. So very clearly, KT looking to try to turn this fight around when they start that Baron. So keep your eyes out for this teleport, and pretty darn far away.
Wow, TPing all the way on the right side. We'll have that home guard coming on in. The Baron will go to KT. Lada taking a bit of damage. ROX doesn't want to join up. There's that Chaos Storm. Key already down to half health. Smev kind of jumping in, not choosing to Cataclysm anyone until now. Gets on top of Mickey. There's 4 members in the Cataclysm. No follow-up really from KT as Mata's on the left side. Deft is nowhere to be seen. And where's the Victor? Where's Pawn? Oh, he's in the mid lane by himself.
Escorting the wave, but that was potentially a huge win for KT. It just didn't work out from the miss combo.
They might get Smev here. The hook misses though in the redemption. Score in a bit of a weird spot, not able to take out Song. Look at that huge headshot crit. Pong getting extremely low. No one's actually died yet. It looks like finally maybe Linderong. Well, the answer is no. And look at this Songyun, who's going mad mode. Can he actually do it? Takes out one. There's a second. He's running after Score and after Deft. Can he actually chase him? Look at Pawn 2 is extremely low. Looks like it's just going to be 2 kills. But Songyun, he saves his team once again.
So close. And here comes
TP.
the home guard teleport, but it does get procced.
Oh, so close. At least they do get Pawn's flash. Trading that for the teleport.
And luckily, they only lose 2 members for that, but KT playing with fire, they have to respect the fact that Sang-Yoon is just so strong. He's 6'1" as well. He's really strong, and once he completes that Bloodthirster, he's not going to be able to get popped by these carries just so easily. And a long-range Caitlyn that has these front lines to protect her means that she can take down teams very quickly, considering that we're already reaching that late game mark. Even though it's 30 minutes, late game's all about the builds and levels, and she's level 15 with only really 1 item necessary left for her, because all she has to do is get rid of Victor and Sivir, and the rest is history.
Very true. We've seen this many times out of KT where they're in the lead. They are very far ahead even. I mean, it's 11,000 gold ahead right now for KT, but still somehow through overconfidence or just, you know, lack of teamwork or communication or something, maybe a combination of all that, they seem to get into these positions that can look very dangerous.
Well, it's getting carried away because League of Legends is, you know, that kind, it's almost like a fencing game where you make 1 stab, the other guy gets a chance to make a stab at you, and when you go for 1 stab 1 time, which is that Baron, you secure your hit, you got to pull back. You got to reset, reassess what you acquired, and then try again. And here it is, that try again, no Flash Nori.
Well, they get that Mickey inside there. That is a huge pick. The cast not able to save him. Sang-Yoon all the way on the left side is just running, not even going to participate. That's a double kill going over to score. Nice collapse that time from KT.
Recognizing the people that can be taken down, and they do so just so effortlessly. Orianna, without anybody to get her out of the Cataclysm, is just a sitting duck, and as such, KT will be pushing for this 2 inhibitors at the same time, and there's really nothing that ROX can do about it without one of their main carries.
Goodbye, turret. Fawn taking a little bit of damage, but that's 1 inhibitor. Will they be able to take another one down? Just 10 seconds until Mickey and Key do respawn.
Well, surely they should be able to do so. They still have empowered recall. Base it, go straight to the top side, and that 14,000 gold lead just seems a little bit too much right about now.
Yeah, it's looking that way. I mean, there's only... there comes a point where it really is just numbers, right? As fed as Sang-Yoon is, I think unless KT make a big mistake, it's going to be incredibly hard for him to carry.
Yeah, because, so the numbers are on him. And in the meantime, we'll take another look at the replay. Just so easy to combo onto Orianna. Spell Shield's the ultimate, but the Chaos Storm, the laser damage just easily dismantle the Orianna that has no resistances. And when you take down the main carry, Ivern and Gragas don't do a whole lot. And while we talk about the late game and the builds going on for ROX Tigers, it's really just Caitlyn that's the only hope. Take a look at the difference between mid laners. That's pretty much a completed build from Pawn, whereas Mickey has Leandries, Morellonomicon, and the Banshee's Veil. That's outclassed if I could have in every way possible, really. Just not enough damage from the magic resist coming through, and it's going to be protect Sang-Yoon, but he doesn't even have the armor penetration item, so it just has to be a really crazy overcommitment from KT for him to turn this around now.
Well, here comes the big defense. Looks like Deft has already eaten a little bit of damage, and KT, instead of just going straight for the top turret, they want to pressure the Nexus just a bit. 4 members in the mid lane, just hanging around. No big engage just yet. Kind of leaving Deft alone to push top. If you're going against that wave clear with the static Shiv, maybe this is the right answer.
They're trying to pressure with Sivir, and she will most likely be joining the team soon.
Ooh. Oh, man. Smeb forced to splash away from the hook.
Here comes Sivir joining the team. They commit to 2, but the wave clear, pretty apparent there from ROX Tigers. Enough body blocking and crowd control to make sure that the minion wave does not start knocking on those Nexus turrets right away. And
it's so crazy that KT ahead 14,000 gold, they still have to play it so carefully. One hook goes astray, gets Deft or Pawn, and they blow him up, and well, we could see KT backing off and an extension to this game.
Exactly. It's really tough when you're dealing with these crazy late game carries. You always have to respect the fact that a Caitlyn can kill your team if you overcommit. And Orianna, even though she's behind, the CC on the Shockwave is always something that you have to be aware of. And when you have short range ADs such as Graves and Sivir without a crazy engage on your support, then you always have to keep it in mind. And as such, they'll just play it safe and most likely will just be looking towards that Baron as the final objective that they need to really crack down this base. So ROX Tiger get another chance at life here. If they can play this Baron fight out well, they could come back.
Yeah, I do like the play out of KT though, when you are this far ahead and your carries are extremely fed. Not necessarily the Sivir, she's doing pretty well, but also even the Graves, but obviously pawn on the Victor.
But disappointment has already struck, as Caitlyn's not going with an armor penetration build. She's going to be going with that magic resistance. Does not want to get one shot by pawn. And while I can respect that, when you're this far behind,
you got to take a risk.
What are you really going to be doing against a Frozen Heart, Gargoyle, Stoneplate Jarvan without armor penetration?
You're not even going to be scratching the armor.
Yeah. You're polishing it for him. You're sanding his armor. Like, let me make you even prettier, Jarvan.
Jarvan, obviously the prettiest champion in League of Legends.
He is a prince, right?
That is true. Your adjectives begin to make sense to me, Crumbs.
It's about time.
It took a little bit of explaining. 3 casts in. I'm beginning to understand.
Well,
deft.
Not enough crits there. In Demacia, I assume, is the most affluent country in Runeterra.
Deft. Be careful, buddy.
He's got that BT, so he's back to full HP and a heartbeat.
I guess it's only scary for me, the pleb. Deft, he's got it under control. And we're seeing the same push that we saw last time, except this time it's got Baron. It's going to be harder for Songyun to clear these waves.
But top lane still is defended by those 5 traps, and Sivir's range is really being her downfall in terms of sieging. So the play has to be a bit different. And this is why the comps you see on Sivir rely on such a heavy amount of hard engage, that when these moments happen, you can always go for a dive. And because they don't have it, this lull happens where the waves just continue to be farmed out. And even though the inhibitor will go down, they were dealing with an inhibitor down previously, so it's not such a big deal, as farm will continue to go the way of ROX and not so much in KT's favor.
Yeah, look at the mid lane too. It's taking a while for KT to get this out. And actually, they get the pull here onto score. He is going to try to dash away, but the huge cast will force that flash away. They can't even get the GA off of him. Here comes Smeb on in. And nobody will die just yet. So much defense on this ROX lineup. They're still going in. Linderong, oh boy, is forced to flash away. Key trying to be the hero, trying to hook someone. And you can see Songyun has a lot of room here, trying to take down Smeb. You were talking about that armor penetration, barely scratching him. And Key will go down.
With the Stoneplate active, I believe that was a 200 damage crit coming out onto the Jarvan. Not really the number you expect to be labeled as a critical strike, but in the meantime, he will be trying to wave clear, but Sivir just hammering away on the Nexus.
Yeah, they're going to work here. That's going to be 1 Nexus turret going down. Can KT commit and get the win? Linderong also seemingly doesn't seem to die. And that's going to be it. Game 3 will go to KT finally after 40 minutes.
Oh, and there's just so much to hope for KT. Yeah, just a game that seemingly was decided by ROX's mistakes and not by KT's assertiveness, and not too much to hope for here. You really want to see this team succeed. There's so much to hope for, but they just seem to be missing something to get them back into the shape that they were just dominating previously in the LCK.
And you could see, even though KT does win, the look on Smeb's face kind of tells it all. It's like, relief almost, and a bit of frustration. Tiredness, fatigue. It's like that took so long for them to finally take them out. And over the course of 3 games, they finally do it, but that's not the dominant KT that we're used to seeing.
Exactly. You have to imagine that in the gaming house, they practice, all right, who do we have this week? We've got the ROX Tigers. They have to be thinking in the back of their heads, respect every opponent, but the chances of them winning would be higher than, say, they're up against SKT or Samsung. So the nerve is most likely not there. And when they meet their opponents and see the struggles that they're dealing with, then you have to imagine that some panic ensues and, wow, are we really not capable of closing out the way that we have been doing so for a previous split before? And the answer was no.
Yeah. Well, this was the big fight that really opened it up for KT. The Rift Herald push with the Ivern. Rift Herald was just whispering in Ivern's ear, hey, go down mid. I promise I'll give you one turret. You guys will be fine. You can set up the brushes for safety. No, the answer was no.
Ivern's having too much of that of that forest herb there, listening to Herald's whispers.
Oh, man. Rift Herald's the Forest Whisperer coming back to bite ROX in the butt. And ROX, they put up a nice counter. You know, they tried to hold on for extremely long. Some of their plays were very nice. It's kind of just a pity at the end of it all. As bad as the faces of KT looked after their win, the faces of ROX, too, after they lost, were just like, oh, we held on for so long, but we couldn't do it.
So close.
So close.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're getting there. So signs of improvement there to be hopeful. And it just really shows that right now the LCKs, anybody can seemingly take anybody down. And
True.
The level of play still sees a lot of hiccups, but for the most part, the macro seems to really be there. The teams understand where to go, what the right moves seem to be making. It's the execution and the wonky mistakes that seem to be struggling.
So let's take a look at the results. See how this game did go down. KT at the end of it all was 17,000 gold ahead. The protect the carry comp here from the ROX Tigers. At moments it looked like it was doing quite well, but KT I think was just a little bit too far ahead. The super fed Victor Pawn showing up big today.
Yeah, and it was a protect the carries composition, but there was really only one. Mickey did not show up in that last game. Ever since that solo kill into the mid lane, just way too far behind for being considered a threat. Victor just completely outclassing them, especially after that fight where they got 4 kills for Victor.
So guys, we are going to go straight into the interview right away.
Hi, this is your translator, and we have Smith for the first MVP interview. So how do you feel about today's victory? Said we wanted to show better performance, but we're not that satisfied, so we want to try better. Especially, we lost 1 set, and also there wasn't a lot of engagement that we thought of, so we have to do better next time. So who do you think will be the MVP for the 3rd set? I think Pawn, who played Victor in the mid lane, will be the MVP. He hopes Pawn can get the points.
So guys, we're going to go ahead and announce the MVP for game number 3. From KT, it was obviously Pawn, 93% kill contribution, 6-0-8, the big carry for KT.
Well deserved. Really just ever since that first blood had an advantage and did not let go. No death for him. A pretty great game overall. Ever since he got the tools to carry, he definitely showed up and did just that.
So guys, we're going to throw it back to the interview right now.
So this is Pawn for the 3rd set MVP. So did you expect that you're going to be the MVP? Yeah, I kind of thought that I would be the MVP. So what was like the play of the game moment of today's match? The moment that I solo killed Oriana was the best moment. So next match is versus MVP. And during the last spring split, it was kind of tough to have a match versus MVP. So are you confident with this time? Yeah, we both lost against MVP in the 1st and 2nd round of spring. So we hope that we can win in summer season. So last match for your fans. Well, we didn't make 2-0, so they will try better and prepare better to make 2-0 games. He thinks their performance are not really that good recently, so he knows that his fans are worrying a lot, but we're trying really hard to get improvements, so just thank you for waiting for us, and we all appreciate all the love and support. And this is the end of the interview. Thank you.
So there you have it. You could hear from both Smeb and Pawn kind of saying, I know you guys are probably worrying about us, talking to the fans, but we're trying really hard. We're trying to get back on track, and at least they do take the win today. Again, results-based here, and they are sitting at 2-1 right now.
2 wins is still sitting at 3rd place, so even though we are relatively early on, it's still enough so that when you're struggling, you do want those wins early on, and it does help. It's a long season, and even though you don't feel quite so confident in your play, the fact that you can start getting your wins early in the turbulent times means that when you start getting back on track, you'll be in a better position for success.
Yeah, for sure, and you compare that to ROX Tigers right now, the bottom of the league, 0-3, and you look at, Ever8 and Jin-Air, both of these teams that are coming from promotions, they both have a win, but the ROX Tigers don't. Well, we'll have to hope that the ROX Tigers do come back and actually take some wins here. They get very close many times. I mean, they almost did it against Samsung. They took 1 win. They almost did it against KT. Even the 2 games that they lost today were very close, down to the wire, long games. But at the end, I still feel like the better team did win in KT.
Yes.
By being able to take that 2-1.
And we call them the better team because they really are, and we just see it because their expectations are just so incredibly high. I mean, you have expectations that you could argue of the best team in the world, and so when they don't meet them, then the criticism is obviously harsh.
Yeah, definitely is, and very excited, guys, for tomorrow. Actually, I do want to shout this out. Over at OGN, we are going to have Longju versus SKT as the second matchup of the night. I think it's Ever8 versus Jin-Air for the first one, which is also pretty exciting. Both of those teams rather, are looking quite strong. Definitely check out both of those matches. We had a long day today. It was very fun, Crumbs, as always. Any final thoughts?
No.
All right, I get it. You're getting used to the casting schedule here as we do go late into the night. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you once again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time on Sunday for more SPO TV, but definitely check in tomorrow for more LCK over at OGN. We'll see you guys next time.